Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Seven Spin. I had to take a deep breath. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Seven Spin. My name is Skylar, and over here in a Ouija board shirt is Brittany.
Hello! Hello, season 3!
Yeah, woo! Season 3, first episode, season 3 premiere, pilot.
That's the pilot, yes. Strap in. But we are a variety podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for rejoining us if you're a former listener, or welcome if you're new. Why you would choose to start on this episode, I don't know, but you do you. But how are you?
I'm good.
Good. You seem very hype over there.
Well, I got a song stuck in my head because you said strap in, and I went tap, 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 tap in. Buckle up, get strapped in. Because that's Jack Harlow's verse in a song.
Okay. I thought maybe you were just like over there happy because like your food's kicking in. Like,
Yeah, well,
like,
that too.
Feeling jazzed.
Yeah, I did just eat before we started. Like, we've been downstairs and I've just been eating because I had a really bad headache before I got here, and I was like, I probably need to eat. And I ate, and I already feel so much better.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise! When I do actually eat, I feel good.
We're here for promoting taking care of yourself. I like your outfit also.
Thank
I saw
you.
your little shirt. It's cute.
Yes, it's a Free People sweater, and I like it
There you
because it's got like
Oh, that's cute.
puff sleeves.
That's a really cute shirt.
Yeah, I really love this sweater.
Yeah, I like the color a lot too. It looks good on you.
I do have to be careful though sometimes because it is very booby.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to like make sure it's...
Yeah, I could never wear it, but it looks very cute on you. How was your holiday break? Oh no.
So I did not have a moment alone
Ah.
for a week. And that is, it was a lot.
I get it. I too had family in for a week. Everyday family. I did have moments alone though, because I wasn't at the same house as them, but it was still a lot.
It was like Thursday, like the Thursday before Christmas. My aunt, my cousin, and his girlfriend would always come over, be like, let's play games. So we'd play games all day, and then be cooking, and then we'd play more games. And I'm like, can I just have a second to myself, please? Pretty please. And then it was like that every single day through Christmas until Tuesday. But Tuesday morning, we left to go to St. Louis. And then my aunt drove, which she drives consistently 10 miles under the speed limit. And would not let me drive. Because she has control issues. And I'm like, me too. That's why I always drive everywhere. I don't like being in the passenger seat. I definitely don't like being in the back seat, but I did convince my mom to let me have the passenger seat because I was going to throw up.
Nice.
When I sat in the back seat on the way to Chicago, it was fine because I was drinking. So I was not thinking about the fact that I was going to get motion sick because I was like, and I sat in the middle of the, like, with the little seatbelt on. Well, not really. Did I have a seat? Is there a seatbelt in the Xterra in the back of it? In the middle?
Yeah.
Then I would have had the seatbelt on.
I think so.
I couldn't remember if there was one in the middle part or not, if there was only the two.
You know, I don't know.
So if there was a seatbelt in the middle, I would have had it on, but if there was not, I would not have had it on.
Either way, we are fine.
Either way, we were both fine. But yes, I could not drink in the car with my mom and my aunt and my little sister as much as I would have loved to. And then we got to St. Louis, and that is my aunt, who's very religious, and I could not even talk about alcohol.
They're like that kind of religious.
She was the one who would not let her kids watch Harry Potter growing up because it had witchcraft and was of the devil.
Say no more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like even when my brother like FaceTimed us while we were playing games, like he was talking about how he's gonna have to go to the dentist again. I was like, well, if you know, like Mom gave herself a root canal in the middle bathroom, so we just need to get you some Jack, and she'll be able. And like joking around with my brother, and Nancy the whole time was sitting there like, as I was joking around with that.
I got you. Pause. Your mom gave herself a root canal.
Yes.
How have you never told me that?
Yeah, my mom gave herself a root canal in our middle bathroom.
Just for fun?
No, well, she needed a root canal, but she is so terrified of the dentist and hates it so much, she figured out how to do it to herself. So she thought it would be better to just... Yeah, so she figured out how to do it herself so she didn't have to go to the dentist. Amazing. My mom is a Libra.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
If that helps clear that up any.
Yeah, a little bit, actually. I have never heard that sentence come from anyone's mouth so casually. And you were really just about to blow over it, and I could not. I had questions. I still have questions, but I'll let you continue with your St. Louis story.
But nonetheless, now the only good thing about St. Louis was there's a raccoon outside. But the bad thing was they wouldn't let me feed it or take it home with me. So that was very sad. But I did get pictures of it, so that was very, very cute.
I saw your pictures. I wasn't sure if that was at your house or not, so it was in St. Louis.
Yeah, it was in St. Louis. But, and then we did not leave until Thursday. So literally from the Thursday before Christmas to the Thursday after Christmas, I was around people. And I was like,
yeah.
And it was never like, oh, everyone can go split off and do their own thing. It was like, we finished one game and it was like, let's play another game. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I'm like,
yeah.
But on the way back from St. Louis, we stopped in O'Fallon. We got Raisin Cane's, which I'd never had Raisin Cane's.
What is that?
It's like a chicken restaurant, like a...
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Zaxby's or something, but it's
I heard, I thought it was like some sort of raisin. Like, I heard raisin.
No, raisin.
Okay, gotcha.
And then we stopped at Barnes & Noble.
Okay. That makes the trip good.
Yes, because I spent...
I was about to say, how much did you spend?
Over $200, probably almost $300.
I mean, that's...
That my unemployed self did not have.
Fair. Yeah.
But
it's a good thing we don't have a Barnes & Noble here.
Well, yeah.
I would honestly spend more than I do at Books-A-Million.
I still spend probably about $200 every time I go to Books-A-Million.
Oh, that's why I just don't go.
Yeah.
I can't allow myself a little treat. I'm just like, no, we're not going.
But I did get a Books-A-Million gift card for Christmas, so probably I'll be making a trip there at some point.
I asked for Books-A-Million if anyone was going to get me a gift card, and they did not. They got me gift cards to places I don't go. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that would be very, my battery would be so drained.
Yeah.
That was me. Mine already was, and it wasn't even that bad. I at least got to come home to my house each night.
Yeah, no, it was like, people would come to our house and then would not leave.
Yeah, that's different.
Until it was like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, can't y'all leave at like a normal people time? Like, go home at 7 so I can like be a person when you come back tomorrow.
Normal people time.
Like, why are you still here? It is 11 o'clock. And it was like snowy. I'm like, why are you still here?
Yeah, I did have some snowy, surprisingly white Christmas.
Yeah, we did.
We haven't had one of those in years, I don't think.
So. No, because the past couple of years, the first snow has always been on my birthday. The first day it would snow has been on my birthday, which I loved because I love the snow.
Fun fact.
I just don't like driving in the snow.
No, yeah. It was very pretty. Like, I liked it a lot, but it made me nervous.
And I'd take Bo outside and he'd play in the snow. Yeah,
Lana, she would get very excited, and then, like, the cold would hit her, and she would just, like, run like a maniac, and then she'd be like, okay, I'm ready to come in. But look, same.
Like, I would get all ready. I'd have my snow boots on, I'd have a big coat on, I'd get gloves on, a hat, and, like, cover my ears. But the first time I went out when it was snowing to take him out, like, after the first night it had snowed, I went outside and I was wearing like joggers and like I did put on a pair of like little rain boots because I hadn't got my snow boots out, but I was like, if I put on a pair of like these little rain boots, like they were just little rain ankle boots, but because I was wearing joggers it was like this much of like skin still showing. I did not put on a hat, but I like put on a pair of gloves and a big coat. I went to take Bo outside, but apparently I should have checked the weather because when I checked the weather when I got back in, because literally just taking him outside like took 10 minutes. My glasses were frosted. Like, I could hear my glasses, like, crackling as they were frosting.
Yeah.
My forehead, like, burned and hurt. And, like, and I was, like, bright. My skin that was exposed was bright red when I got back inside. I look at the weather. It was 2 degrees outside with a wind chill of -15. I was like...
It was bitingly cold. Like, it was really fucking cold. And even on the days it wasn't snowing, it was still super fucking cold. Like, yeah, you'd, like, be in pain after being outside for, like, 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I, like, 2 degrees with a wind chill of -15. I was like, this is uncalled for.
This is not what I wanted. I guess we should start. That was a long intro.
Well, I know you said yours was more relaxed and, like, you got to come home. Like, was there...
Yeah, it was about, like, it was just a bunch of family. It was fine, though. Nothing too crazy, but I was very tired. I took, like, this week to recover, because mine was from Christmas Day to New Year's Day. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't the week before Christmas. It was the week, like, of directly after through New Year's. And it was just a lot of family time, a lot of games. My mom made my niece cry, and she felt really bad about it. Oh! Well, okay, so last time my family was in, we taught my niece, who's 7, how to play Uno. Uh-huh. She loved it. So when she came back in, like, we got her, like, Uno stuff for Christmas, like a little card hand holder to help her hold her cards. Yeah. And I bought her own copy of Uno or whatever. And so, like, she wanted to play Uno, and we were like, okay, cool. And so we played some other games. Then one day during that week, we went out shopping, and my mom found an Uno game that was just Uno all wild. So every single card is a wild card, meaning you can always play it, but there are, like, mean cards. So, like, some of them are, like, you switch hands with someone, or you, like, make 2 people draw 2, or make 2 people skip. Like, it was just, like, we explained it to my niece as, okay, this is mean Uno. So no one's, like, singling you out, but, like, we're all going to be mean to each other, but it's just a game. And she's like, okay, yeah, I want to play it. I want to play the mean Uno. And we were like, okay. So we played a couple of rounds of it, and it was fine. And then we were playing one round, and Emery, my niece, got down to 1 card. And my mom had the card where you change hands with someone, and she picked Emery to change hands with. So she gave Emery, like, 8 cards and took her 1 card, and you could just see the tears. Like, and Emery, she's definitely an empath, and she's very, like, in her feels. We're very similar in that sense, but she is also the person who gets mad when she's about to cry, and she doesn't want to cry, so it makes her more likely to cry. So you could just see her holding back the tears, and you could just see her getting angry and not being able to hold them back, and eventually she had to go and leave the room. Oh. And then Brian had to go, like, talk to her and explain it to her, and, like, he talked her down, and my mom felt like shit, and me and Tara were just dying laughing. And then Brian comes back, and he's, like, very stern, and he, like, had a conversation. He's like, she's upset because she thinks you guys are laughing at her. And I was like, oh, poor baby. She's very emotional. And then she, like, came back, and she's like, okay, let's play. Aww, bless it. And then the day after they got back home from their week here, she broke her arm.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, the day after they got back home, they were unpacking all their stuff from the week or whatever and going through, and, like, my sister was, like, purging and getting rid of some stuff. And they have a little neighbor that Emery was playing with, and I guess the neighbor got a hoverboard for Christmas, and Emery, I guess, saw it, and she was like, that looks easy, and tried to ride the hoverboard and ended up breaking her arm. Oh, good. So she had to have surgery. Oh. She has a bar in her arm right now. Oh. And so, yeah.
She's just had a rough week.
She's been through it. But
First your mom was mean to her in Uno, and then she broke her arm.
And it's the same arm that she, like, sprained and hurt really bad when she fell out of her bunk bed. Like, she needs bubble wrap. Yeah. On her heart and on her body.
Bunk beds are dangerous.
Yeah, and it's like, it also doesn't help her that her mom, my sister, broke her hip when she was 16. Mm-hmm. Like, she's got weak bones in her genes. Yeah. So it's going to be rough for her growing up. And, like, she does soccer, she's going to do volleyball, and I'm like, oh god, the medical bills you are going to get.
I'm like, I think we should ban bunk beds. They're dangerous. I broke my toe on a bunk bed.
Apparently they said, I never had a reason to have a bunk bed, and I never did.
Well, one holiday, my brother had a bunk bed for whatever reason, which he had a room by himself. There's no reason for him.
My cousin had that. He had a room by himself, and he had a bunk bed. And I was like, why do you have this?
Because, like, when we were little, we were in a very tiny house, like a very small house. There was 2 bedrooms. Well, technically there were 3 bedrooms, but it was like the master bedroom, living room, kitchen, tiny hallway, bathroom, bedroom, laundry room, bedroom.
Okay.
It was a very weird setup.
Okay.
But when we were, like, really little, the one room was like a playroom. It was like where we could make a mess and like it would be okay. So me and my brother shared a bedroom until eventually he moved into the other bedroom and we slept in separate rooms. But we had a bunk bed because there were two of us, which made sense. Now he slept on the top bunk. One day on his birthday, maybe like 3 years old, jumped off the top of the bunk bed. We had a dresser with a TV sitting on top of it. Caught his ear on the corner of the dresser and like ripped his earlobe. And so he had to go to the ER on his birthday with my dad. And then me and my mom went to Chuck E. Cheese. Because that's where we were going for his birthday.
Your mom said, let's still go.
Yeah. So we still went to Chuck E. Cheese on Brett's birthday. Even though he was in the ER with my dad.
God. I mean, that's a Libra. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, now in his room in our house, our current house, he has a bunk bed, even though he's all by himself. But I guess it's good because like during the holidays when like my aunt and my uncle were sleeping in my bed, I was sleeping on Brett's top bunk. Well, he keeps his fan on and his room is cold as hell. So I was sleeping with socks on because I was freezing. And I don't ever sleep with socks, but I was freezing cold. So I was getting down and I was like, had my foot on the bar and it was a metal bunk bed and I should have seen this coming. But I was like, I just wanted to get out of bed, get me a cup of coffee. So I stepped down. When I went to go turn to get my other leg down, my foot slid and rammed into the side and I broke my toe on the bunk bed.
You had to hit that hard.
Yeah.
Damn. Bunk beds.
They're dangerous. They should be banned.
Outlaw the bunk beds.
Look what they did to my brother. Really the bunk bed didn't do it. He made the choice to jump off the top of the bunk bed.
He was feeling some type of way. I think he did that to himself.
But look what it did to Emery.
Yeah, similarly, kind of. Like, it was kind of Emery's own fault. She was climbing down. I can't remember what she was doing, but she decided she needed a bag of Cheetos in her hand that she didn't want to put down also, so she slipped holding her Cheetos, and when they found her, she was still like clutching the bag of Cheetos. Oh. She's a mess. She's goofy.
I love it though.
Now, okay, that was like a really long intro now.
Well, we've had like a little break.
I know. Welcome. We said we talk about nothing, so that was our nothing.
There was your nothing. Now we'll get
Probably
into...
not going to be all of the nothing, but...
Now we'll get into what we are actually talking about today, which, much like the season 1 premiere, is paranormal.
Yes, hence my Ouija board shirt. I tried to theme.
I wanted to theme, but my shirt that I would have been able to theme with is currently with Judy, so...
Oh. You still look very cute.
Yes, thank you. But it's like so what had happened was, there's like, I don't like side tags. They bother me.
Yeah.
Now I have 2 shirts. One of them, because my friend Mimi sent them to me in the mail when she sent me my Wavy Seasons Greetings box from 2021. It's like a whole box, very like space constellation themed, and I loved it. And she was like, well, because she could get it like cheaper when she was visiting South Korea, so she like got it for me, and I was like, yeah. But she sent me these 2 shirts. One of them is gray with like a black trim, and it says "I want to believe," and it's like a little UFO. Then the other one I wanted to wear was white and had like navy trim, and it had a little emblem that said "Ghost Sport Club." But when I went to go rip the side tag out of the gray shirt, it was fine. Like, I just ripped the tag out, it was good.
Yeah.
When I tried to do it to the white shirt, I got the seam, and so there's a hole where this tag was, so it's with Judy, so she can sew it back up.
I gotcha. Yeah, every now and then I can sometimes stand a side tag, and other times, I have to cut them out.
Which is probably what I should have done. But when I ripped the first one out, it worked fine. So I was like, okay, I'll just do it again, and then...
That's fair. Depends on the shirt, and you never know. I learned the hard way. I usually rip off my top ones, and sometimes it doesn't go very well. Or it makes it worse. It's one or the other.
There's just a little ghost with like a little sport headband, like it says Ghost Sport Club, and I was like, that's so cute. I love it.
It is cute.
Yes. And what are we drinking?
Well, the drink was a drink we like. So I'm drinking a gin and tonic. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Cider Boys.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I misunderstood the assignment.
We're off to a great start.
Great start. Cheers. Season 3 cheers.
Anything else to discuss?
I don't think so.
Any other anecdotes?
Well, I was considering misunderstanding the assignment for paranormal.
Okay.
Like maybe doing like folklore, but then I was like, that really falls more into mystical. But paranormal and mystical are kind of the same. But I really want to talk about the fae. I was like, which technically
I would have allowed it.
Is paranormal,
Yeah.
but we do have a mystical category. So I was like, it does fit better in mystical.
I mean, either way, for future reference.
I did ghost, but I did consider purposely misunderstanding the paranormal assignment.
Are you doing ghost in like general?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was like, oh God, it's going to be a long topic.
I did a haunting. It's very short, but it's very respectful.
Okay.
It wasn't like episode 1.
Mine is also kind of short, I think.
And it wasn't like episode 2. I'm not like packed down with history this time either.
Yeah,
Where it's like 5 pages of history and like a page and a half of ghost. Now it's like mostly ghost. But not really even that. There's a cryptid involved. It's fine. I'm going to stop talking now.
Okay. So, mine is kind of a cliche thing, but I figured season 3 premiere, go something popular, go something big. So, on November 12th, 1966, a group of grave diggers saw something strange when they were working in a cemetery in Clinton, West Virginia. They would later go on to describe this figure as a, quote, brown human being.
Is this Mothman?
They claimed this human being was a massive figure that soared over their heads, moving rapidly from tree to tree. This was the first reported sighting of what would eventually become the Mothman legend.
Hey!
Yes, speaking of cryptid, I'm doing Mothman.
I almost did
I love
Mothman.
Really?
I really almost did. And then I went,
for some reason, I kind of had like a little inkling. I was like, I could see Skylar also doing Mothman.
But then I flipped directions and I was like, okay, I'm going to do a different cryptid. So I picked a different cryptid and then I realized the place where that cryptid came from has a lot more. So I was like, so I did the region.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, like, I don't know. Mothman is probably my favorite cryptid, or at least top 3.
I love Mothman.
So I knew I wanted to cover Mothman eventually. I was like, season 3 premiere sounds like a great time to do it, even though I know it's so overdone. And everyone probably knows the story, but
that's okay. Like I said, I love Mothman. I'm here for Mothman. I'm always here for Mothman. What was that one? I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
That one Shane and Ryan video, the username of that person with Mothman.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I know what you're talking about. But
It was like something like wild, like Mothman gets pegged, or like something like that.
I could see that. Out of all the cryptids, Mothman's definitely the most fuckable.
Yeah.
Like, come on. There's a reason people are horny for Mothman.
Mothman was submissive and breathable.
Yes. Anyway. So yes, Mothman. Very mature, scientific, respectful talking about Mothman.
Yeah. No funny business whatsoever.
Only in the bedroom. With Mothman.
With Mothman, specifically.
Yes. I love Mothman.
I loved Christine's story about going to the Mothman Festival with M and being like, maybe like 2 weeks away from her due date.
Well, they didn't get to go though, right? It got canceled, I think.
Oh. I just remember them like talking, and it was just, yeah, because when they were going, it was going to be like 2 weeks away from Christine's due date, and I was like,
which I've also...
Could you imagine giving birth at the Mothman Festival?
Iconic. But that was the year I was also going to go. I wanted to go, but it got canceled.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. I clearly did not keep up with it as well as I...
No, I want to go to the Mothman Festival so bad.
So on our list, we've got Shaky Knees Festival, we've got Mothman Festival, we have got going to Salem, just in general.
Yes. Just keep adding. We're not checking any off. We're just adding.
We're just adding them until this podcast gets us somewhere that we can afford to do these things. That we have an income.
Something like that. I would just go. I would just like to go to the Mothman Festival. It doesn't have to be for the podcast.
No, I just mean like...
I would talk about it. Make
a vlog
video.
video.
A vlog for YouTube.
Well, that is what a vlog is, Skylar. Good job.
A vlog video.
Yeah, I want a vlog video.
Pretty.
I'm like... So lucky I am, because I had nothing going on up here.
Oh, stop. Oh, speaking of cryptids.
Oh! Hello!
The most mysterious creature in this house.
She let me pet her the last time I was here. Do you understand how big that is? It's been like over 2 years, and she just let me pet her the last time I was here.
She's being like weirdly sweet these days. I wonder if she's dying. Hope not. Or maybe she's just realized that her aloofness only gets her so much love.
Hi, Celeste. Hello.
Just came in here to eat Mochi's food. It's fine.
And just sit there and look pretty.
I mean, that's what she's good at.
What a big yawn. Sorry, that's how I talk to my dog. It is not going to work with Celeste.
I love a pet voice. So like I said, I probably know this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Even though there's not much of a story, it's just how the legend started. So, that was the first sighting on November 12th. On November 15th, 1966, 3 days later, in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Stephen and Mary Maliette were driving together on State Route 62 near the abandoned National Armory building and power plant when they saw a menacing figure standing 6 to 7 feet tall with giant, bright, red shining eyes.
Oh, my cryptid's older than your cryptid.
Yeah, he's baby. And that's just, I mean, we'll get into it, but like that's the first like West Virginia reported sighting.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes people, you see shit and you don't report it.
You'll never guess who the first person to sight my cryptid was.
I'm trying to figure out what your cryptid is. I'm very intrigued.
You will never guess who the first person was to see this cryptid was.
Okay, well, let me guess when time comes.
Okay.
Maybe you'll have to give me a hint though. Panicked, so obviously they saw this 6 foot, 7 foot tall creature, giant, bright, shining eyes. You're gonna panic a little. So panicked, Roger sped the car away and towards town, back towards Point Pleasant.
I love how it's like 6 foot, 7 foot, because 6 foot is a normal sized person, and then 7 foot, you're like, that's big. But I love how it's like...
Well, it's like everyone's just like guesstimating, but that is the general consensus, is it's from like 6 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why people always, like, they thought it was a man. Like, the first person, the gravediggers described it as a brown human being because it's man-sized.
Yeah.
It's Mothman. But then when you see it, like, zooming ahead from tree to tree, you're like, that's not a man. I don't think.
That is sketchy.
That's the cryptid. So yeah, like, total. It's, again, boyfriend material. 6 to 7, that's what we like.
Mothman is boyfriend shaped.
He is, literally.
And he has wings.
He can just carry you off feet. So according to the witnesses in the car, the thing rose up like a helicopter, which I just love the imagery.
Just his little antennas on the top of his head, just
so charming. Rose up like a helicopter and then began to pursue them. Roger and Steve reported the sighting to the local paper, the Point Pleasant Register. They claimed that the beast had bright red eyes that were about 6 inches apart, a wingspan of 10 feet, and the apparent urge to avoid the bright headlights of the car. Because they claimed, like, when they shined the headlights on him, he was, like, adverse to it. He didn't like that. Which is interesting, since people claim...
That's not how moths work.
Right. And, like, in all, like, fan drawings and stuff, it's always, like, Mothman being attracted to the light. But apparently, that is not lore-based. He does not like the light. They also claimed in this report that when they were fleeing, the creature was able to fly at incredible speeds, possibly even as fast as 100 miles per hour, as that's the speed Roger claims he got the car up to in his panic to get away, and then the creature, Mothman, was able to keep pace with that easily. So, that's fast. He's a fast boy.
Mothman got nothing on me in my driving.
Challenge accepted.
Come on, Mothman. Let's race.
All of the witnesses, they also agreed that the creature was a clumsy runner on the ground, even though he was able to keep up very well in his mind, which is like so charming and also the same. I too am a clumsy runner on the ground. But that's so cute. Like,
Plus, he's just stumbling.
clumsy.
Just like a baby deer. Doesn't know how to use his legs very well.
After chasing their vehicle to the outskirts of town in the air, it was then said that the creature scuttled into a nearby field and disappeared. That was their report. That was their encounter. Given that this was the 60s in a very small mountain town, it obviously sounded very absurd to everyone and was taken with very high skepticism. But Roger Scarberry was very adamant and insisted that the apparition couldn't have been a figment of his imagination, like he was in his right mind, he saw what he saw. Mm-hmm. And he claimed, quote, "If I had seen it while by myself, I wouldn't have said anything, but there were 4 of us who saw it, and we all agree what we saw." End quote. Which, I mean, fair. The paper ran their story the next day with the headline, "Couple see man-sized bird, ... creature, ... something." That was the title of the headline. The story did, obviously, of course, ruffle, like, the feathers of the community, and quickly the stereotypical, like, inclination in a small town of mass hysteria, angry mob, inflated. They were like, okay, we don't want this in our town. But it wasn't, pitchforks and torches and rakes. They went for, like, hunting rifles and guns. So they were, like, on the hunt for Mothman at this point.
Because it was the 60s.
Yes, in a small town. Allegedly, the night before Mothman was spotted by the couples in the car, he made a stop at the home of Newell Patridge in Salem, West Virginia. So this man claimed that he saw strange patterns appearing on his TV screen, followed by a mysterious sound just outside of his home. He claims to have shined a flashlight toward the direction of the noise, where he saw 2 red eyes resembling bicycle reflectors looking back at him. Bandit, his German shepherd, bolted into the woods after the glowing eyes.
No Bandit.
Newell says he looked for Bandit, but found nothing but paw prints going in circles and then vanishing. So, unfortunately, Bandit was never seen again.
Aww. Mothman. Bad Mothman. Bad Mothman.
This particular sighting is a popular tale since it gives, the potentially sinister edge to the Mothman. Obviously, we'll never know what happened to Bandit because that's all we've ever been told. And this, again, happened in the 60s.
Mothman, I want your statement. I want a formal Notes app apology.
Where's your apology video? Your apology tweet. But many do...
I want to see tears.
But, like, in the believers' legends or whatever, many do believe that Mothman took Bandit. Like, that is... people... That is cemented in their mind as... lore correct.
You know what, Mothman? I will give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you just wanted a companion.
Maybe.
And maybe Bandit is your new best friend.
And, like, they never found, like, remains, I don't think.
Yeah, so maybe Bandit lived a very happy life with Mothman and became Mothman's best friend instead of man's best friend.
I mean, all mans needs best friends.
That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bandit lived out the rest of his life as Mothman's pet German Shepherd.
Yes. But Newell, he did state, like, he never would have come forward with that encounter because, again, it just sounds so bizarre.
Yeah.
But seeing that the couples the next day had something, like, it fit what he saw, he was like, okay, now I feel more comfortable, like, coming forward. And so he came forward with his tale.
Yeah. Because, like, if my dog, like, had footprints going around in circles and then vanished into thin air,
After,
I would be like...
seeing red eyes on your TV screen.
Even just that, I'd be like, oh my god, Bo got picked up by a hawk. But a German Shepherd's not about to get picked up by a hawk.
Yeah, no.
My mini golden doodle is definitely hawk bait. But
yeah, that's the other thing to, like, take into account. It was a German Shepherd.
It wasn't like a tiny dog that was picked up by, like, a bird of prey.
Yeah. Even, I feel like a German Shepherd would be hard for, like, even a big bird of prey to pick up.
Yeah, no. Like,
so...
like, even a bald eagle wouldn't be able to, like, get a hold of a German Shepherd.
At least not easily, I wouldn't think.
They'd have to severely, like, there would be a fight between the dog.
Yeah, probably like fur, like stuff found, you know?
Because they would have to injure the dog before being able to take it. They wouldn't have been able to just, like, grab it and pick it up.
Of a moth. In the arms of the moth. Surely someone's had to have done that, right?
If Creed did a song about baseball, I'm sure someone's done a Mothman rendition of In the Arms of the Angel.
I can only hope. Send it to me if anyone ever finds it. Or if you make it, I will cherish it. So then after this, over the next year, more and more sightings were then reported in the oh my god, I keep trying to put an L, in the Point Pleasant area, and then slowly the legend.
I see why.
It's Point Pleasant, so I'm trying to get Plant Pleasant. I'm like getting dyslexic. So over the next year, after the initial reportings, people just started reporting more and more, eventually creating the legend of Mothman.
Do you want to know how ADHD I am and how my brain got from point A to point what I'm about to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, say it first and then explain.
Okay. Haunted Chocolatier comes out this year.
Okay. I am very excited.
I'm so excited, but how I got from point A to Haunted Chocolatier is because you were like, if you make this, we'll cherish it. And I was like, started thinking, I was like, oh, that could be like our new theme song. And then I started thinking about how our theme song, we got it on Fiverr, from the person explaining we wanted mystical Stardew Valley. And then so I was like, oh, Stardew Valley. And then I was like, oh, Haunted Chocolatier comes out this year.
I love that. And also I relate to that really hard. Because I too think like that.
And it's and it all happened in the span of 5.5 seconds. I got from I will cherish this to, oh my god, Haunted Chocolatier comes out this year in no time at all. And I was like, how did I get there? And then I had to backtrack and I was like, oh, that's how.
You had to walk yourself through the process. The Gettysburg Times reported 8 additional sightings in just 3 days after the first claims. So, after the first one, there were 8 sightings in 3 days. This included the report of 2 volunteer firefighters who said they saw, quote, a very large bird with large red eyes, end quote.
Is this 8 new sightings in the next 3 days, or 8 sightings coming out because they feel comfortable coming out in the next 3 days?
I'm going to assume it was just after the original, the 2. The couples were the original report.
Yes, and then it was the new wall.
Yes, even though his account technically happened before theirs, and then again, the Gravediggers before that.
Yeah.
But then people were coming in. I don't know if that ties into, his, but I take it as 8 additional sightings.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I have written. That's what I saw. So the Gettysburg Times, though, publication specifically, reported 8 additional sightings in just 3 days after, I'm going to assume, the posts, the headlines, couples see strange, whatever.
I just didn't know if it was 8 new sightings in the next 3 days, or if in the next 3 days 8 stories of sightings had come out.
It could be either one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Not that it's that important, but I just...
No, I mean, it's a good question. I literally don't know. But then after all that, also, just over the next year, more and more people claim to have seen it, which, again, some of that you do have to take with a grain of salt because people love buying into phenomena.
Yeah.
So, that's why I don't have a lot of information on a lot, just because you never know who to believe. Yeah. So, of course, with all of the reports and stuff and the new believers, there's going to be the skeptics. So, an associate professor of wildlife biology at West Virginia University, Dr. Robert L. Smith, quickly dismissed the notion that a flying monster was haunting the town. He attributed the sightings...
I bet you would, mister.
He claimed the sightings were that of a sandhill crane.
Okay.
So, a sandhill crane stands almost as tall as the average man and has bright red flesh around its eyes.
Oh.
Which, fine, but I feel like there's got to be a big distinction of red glowing eyes like a bicycle reflector.
Yeah.
And, skin or flesh around eyes.
Yeah, because if it's dark, you're not going to see red flesh around eyes.
That's my thinking. But, I mean, it's a good theory. I'll give it to you. But I feel like it's the reflected part, in the that's what gets me is when I don't know. Maybe some of these people, sure, that's what they saw, but I don't buy it because that flesh isn't going to reflect.
No.
Like an eye.
No.
So, believe what you will. I guess I'm just throwing everything out there. Regardless, this theory was quite compelling, obviously, like we said, especially with how many early reports described what they saw as bird-like.
Mm-hmm.
So.
A crane is a bird?
Yes. Some people hypothesized that this specific crane that they were seeing was deformed especially if it resided in the, quote, TNT area, which is a name that locals gave to a series of nearby bunkers that were once used for manufacturing munitions during World War II. It was previously suggested that these bunkers have leaked toxic materials into the neighboring wildlife preserve, and then that possibly like affected the nearby animals and wildlife and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, sure, makes sense. Another theory just suggests that Mothman was the work of a very committed prankster, who even went so far as to hide in the abandoned World War II munitions plant where some sightings occurred, which that's a pretty risky prank, I feel like, but alright.
Yeah, that's a bold claim. That someone was pulling an
really
elaborate
committed
prank.
You're risking toxic exposure to yourself for that prank, but okay.
How do you fly?
The theory basically runs on the belief that when the national press ran with the Mothman story originally, locals in Point Pleasant began to panic, like I said, becoming convinced that they were seeing the Mothman in birds and other large animals, even long after the prankster like originally stopped whatever his original joke was. Basically like a hive mind mass panic type of belief theory, but it's still like I never could find out what people theorized his prank was. Yeah. Like what was he doing at the abandoned bunker? I don't know. Like how are you a flying man? I don't know. I don't understand.
Like how do you fly? How did the prankster fly?
Yeah. So I mean that's sort of the theories. So I'm just throwing it out there. Others like to point out that the Mothman bears a resemblance to several demon archetypes found among people who have experienced sleep paralysis. So this theory basically alludes to the suggestion that the visions are nothing more than that of the embodiment of just general human fears, pulled from the unconscious and pinned onto real life, just animal sightings. Which sure, but that's again a bold claim to think about a town, I feel like. Yeah. Like sure, maybe one or two people, like, but I don't see like, my sleep paralysis demon in real life. Like, I can differentiate. Yeah, like, I know when my sleep paralysis demon is my sleep paralysis demon. And also, just us two. We have two very different sleep paralysis demons. Yeah. And, like, sure, maybe a tall bird, like, man with wings and red eyes is someone's, but a whole town's, and even if the whole town was, like, mass panicking, that was the hardest one for me to buy. I don't know. As someone, I guess, maybe who has sleep paralysis, I'm just like, I don't know about that. I don't know. Like I definitely know when I'm having a sleep paralysis episode and I'm seeing my sleep paralysis demon. I'm not getting it confused with real life. I guess I've never been in a town experiencing mass hysteria, being on national news in the 60s. Like, I don't know. I guess there could be a few different things. Mm-hmm. But I'll never know. But that's, like, my least favorite theory. But I thought it was still interesting to point out. And then, of course, we have the paranormal explanations to the Mothman. So these just involve basically complicated theories that weave together aliens, UFOs, and precognition. So it's kind of just a big mumble-jumble, and there's a bunch of various ones there. I'm not really going to talk about those. Essentially, it's just, he's either, like, a demon from hell or an alien from space is what people fight about. So there you go. And then most of the theories involved in the paranormal ones lead to one of two directions. So one, that Mothman is a harbinger of doom, or two, and more sinisterly, he is the causer of tragedy. So he's either like, warns you when doom is happening, or he is the sole cause of the doom. Mm-hmm. I like to leave in the harbinger, like, I think he's just like, tries to warn people, but then people misunderstand him. Yes. Mothman is just misunderstood. He is. We love him. He's just trying to help. It's like when people see a black dog. It's like the black dog is not the bad omen itself. It's letting you know that a bad thing is happening. Yeah, or it could just be a Loki checking in on you. Calm down, guys. The black dog that you see is not there to hurt you. It is there to let you know that, like, hey, some shit's about to happen. But if it's a hell dog, it's there to take your soul to hell. Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference between a black dog and a hellhound. And people don't realize that, I think, is where it's a miscommunication trope. The black dog. But I also think owls are bad omens. Like, they're there to let you know when bad things are about to happen. Well, people are split on owls. It just kind of depends, yeah. I think because I am half Native American, a lot of Native American beliefs are that owls are bad omens. It's like when people get like a tribal owl tattoo, Native Americans are like, why do you do that? Yeah. Like that is so silly.
And it's like, you were right, that is silly, because the owls are bad omens.
I like it. So the Mothman, being the causer of the tragedy, came about being largely based on the tragedy of the bridge that happened shortly after the Mothman arrived. This being, of course, the Silver Bridge tragedy, which is the main thing that's always brought up with Mothman, which is just like a huge fear of mine. I hate bridges. Maybe I was here in a past life because I hate this. I hate this story so much.
Yeah, bridges are portals to hell.
Okay, so
that's what we learned from episode 1, is that bridges are portals to hell.
Yeah, it's an awful. Just don't ever get on a bridge ever in your life.
Did you know? Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
So, okay, I don't go to Metropolis.
Right.
Like, ever. Just because I don't have a reason to be in Metropolis.
I don't go often either now.
But, you know the bridge, the blue metal sketchy one?
Yes.
Well, when I went to Metropolis with Lexi for her dance recital,
Are you going to tell me a bridge story? Because I don't need to know this.
Yeah. It's something I learned about the bridge.
Okay.
So we were coming back. It turns out, when you go on this bridge, you gotta book it across the bridge. Because if you drive slowly, your car starts veering to the side. Like, it just starts getting pulled towards the side of the bridge.
It gave me a shiver.
So you're supposed to speed across it, because if you speed across it, your car doesn't get pulled. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out, what the hell?
Is it because it raises?
The only thing I can think is, like, I wonder if, because the bridge is metal, if there's, like, a magnet, so, like, if you're going slow, you know, your car starts veering towards the bridge because it's, like, a magnet, maybe? But that's the only thing I could come up with. But I don't know. But apparently that's, like, what happens on the Brookport Bridge. Yeah.
I don't like bridges. Thanks for that. More unfortunate bridge talk. So, the Silver Bridge was built in 1928 to connect Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Gallipolis. I'm not sure how you say that. Ohio. But basically to connect West Virginia to Ohio.
Well, that's where they went wrong. No one should ever connect to Ohio because Ohio sucks.
Ohio doesn't exist.
Ohio is the worst.
And so on December 15th, 1967, just a little over a year after the first Mothman sightings, and then throughout the year there were more, allegedly, traffic was really bad on this bridge. Like, it was packed with cars.
That's why I hate construction. I will not go on a bridge if there's construction.
It stresses me out.
I do not want to spend any longer on a bridge than I absolutely have to. If there's construction on a bridge, I'm looking for a detour.
Well, this will make you hate it even more, maybe. So, given that the bridge, again, was built in the 20s, when cars were a lot lighter, this obviously put a big strain on this bridge. So,
no one fucking updated the bridge?
No, because it's the 60s and this was built in the 20s. Like, I'm gonna get into some bridge stuff. A lot of this, like, it's why I just, like, no, I don't blame Mothman. I think he was telling people, hey, fix your fucking bridge. Because
that's the thing. It's like, if you have a bridge that was built in the 1920s, why not by the 60s have you now updated and renovated the bridge?
We'll also talk about how it was built in the 20s. I go into some bridge talk here. It's the bridge's fault. So, for context, in 1928, when the bridge was constructed, the Model T car weighed 1,500 pounds. So that's what it was built for. In 1967, the average car weighed 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
The bridge was also not well designed. There was no clever ingenuity. Like, there was not a lot of thought put into this bridge connecting to, like, cities like this over the fucking Ohio River. It wasn't, like, cleverly designed, nor was it constructed with a lot of cautiousness in mind. Like, it was kind of very laissez-faire.
So why did no one fix this by this point? And that's what I don't understand, because this was preventable.
Oh, for sure.
If someone would just fix the fucking bridge, because that's what you do as when you know, technology, it progresses and time progresses and we come up with these new inventions and cars get bigger and bridge technology gets better, whatever the fuck. This was preventable. How in 40 years did you not think to renovate the bridge?
Money would be my only guess. Money and just
But then again,
caring.
I think we should fix the fucking Brookport Bridge, but no one has done that either because I don't like the Brookport Bridge. It freaks me the hell out.
Oh, yeah.
And especially now that I learned that if you don't speed across it, your car gets pulled towards the edge of the bridge. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Is it magnetism or is it a portal to hell and your car is getting pulled so you can get, like, crashed into the side and be taken? I don't know. There could be a supernatural explanation. I honestly could see there being a supernatural explanation for the Brookport Bridge because it's sketchy as hell.
We'll have to investigate it.
We'll have to investigate the Brookport Bridge.
I was walking on it then. I don't know if I want to do that. So also for the Silver Bridge, the design of it featured very little redundancy, which basically means that if one part of it failed, there was nothing in place to prevent other parts from then failing as well. And basically on December 15th...
So, like, no individual support beams, no wire, like...
It was just all like, this is a bridge, it's supposed to be one. And basically on December 15th, that's exactly what happened. One part failed, so then every part failed.
See, and that's why you have, on a bridge, multiple support beams all the way across the bridge, and you have wires holding the sides, like, up to the top, like they're supposed to.
It was a very preventable tragedy. It's very
sad. If someone had just fixed the goddamn bridge.
So, on December 15th, without warning, a single eye-bar near the top of the bridge on the Ohio side cracked. The chain snapped, and then the bridge fell to pieces. Cars and pedestrians were plunged into the icy water of the Ohio River below. 46 people died, either by drowning or by being crushed by the wreckage. 46 people lost their lives because of the bridge's poor construction.
See, and this is why there are those multiple wires, because when one wire snaps, there's all those other wires supposed to be holding it up.
Supposed to be. But again, they didn't care. Or, I mean...
Yeah, this is not Mothman's fault.
But a lot of people blame Mothman as the cause of this.
Oh. Well, they're fucking wrong. Don't blame Mothman. He's baby.
And I'm like, literally, it's just the construction of the bridge. But okay. He didn't build the bridge 40 years ago.
Yeah, Mothman was not on the construction site.
Just put a little construction hat on him. He'd be cute.
That would be cute.
I want to see fan art of that. In 1975, author John Keel combined...
Oh my god, sexy Mothman with a construction hat on.
Oh yeah. Mothman born construction hat? Let's do it.
It's a big seller. I can already see it.
Put it on a shirt. TM.
TM, yes. We can't TM Mothman, so that's going to be hard to get through.
TM that. Construction worker Mothman. In 1975, author John Keel combined the Mothman sightings and the bridge disaster while creating his book, The Mothman Prophecies. So he is kind of the big, like, proprietor of, like, this belief. But it was still there in people's minds. So not only did he combine, like, Mothman with the bridge disaster, but some other things he did is in the book, he claimed that the Point Pleasant residents experienced precognitions, including premonitions of the collapse of the Silver Bridge, UFO sightings, visits from inhuman or threatening men in black, and other phenomena. So he basically, like, took all the paranormal things, put them in a blender, put them in his book, but it's all attributed to Mothman coming there in the first place. The book is very, like, well known for being, like, the beginnings of the Mothman legend. But really, this guy just kind of rode the wave. But, alright, you do you, I guess, in writing a book. His story obviously took hold, and Point Pleasant soon became iconic among conspiracy theorists, UFOologists, and general paranormal fans, largely because of his book.
So I feel about a lot of that genre of book writers. I'm like,
Yeah. And then we'll also, like, kind of rekindled all of that and the belief and really put the book out there is in 2002, a movie based on the book kind of set it on fire again. So The Mothman Prophecies is a book, but it is also a movie in 2002. In the film, Richard Gere plays a reporter whose wife seems to have witnessed the Mothman shortly before her death. He then finds himself in Point Pleasant several years later with no clue of how he got there. The film offers no conclusions. Instead, it just kind of gives an eerie feeling of disjointedness that was both praised and disliked by critics. But most importantly, though, the film popularized the theory of the Mothman being a harbinger of doom. So not necessarily the cause, but still connected to all these bad things. Mm-hmm. But again, it just, like, rekindled people's, like, fascination with cryptids, but Mothman specifically. The idea that seeing the Mothman the Mothman, I keep saying Mothman like a person, but it's the Mothman, predicted disaster led some believers to connect sightings to the Chernobyl disaster in 1986, the Mexican swine flu outbreak of 2009, and the 2011 nuclear disaster in Fukushima.
How did he get there?
Well, okay. So
I'm
that's
like, how did he get to Chernobyl? I thought he was in West Virginia. I'm like, Mothman, were you doing some traveling?
That's where, and I don't have a lot of information on this, but that's where the theory is maybe Mothman isn't a singular entity, but a species.
Ah.
A species of, like, these harbinger of doom. So, like, they show up where they're needed, or if it is the same Mothman, again, that I guess would be, like, the alien or the hell part of it is he can just go to these places.
Uh-huh.
And, like, if you see him there, so people claimed in those sightings, I don't have, like, the reports of those sightings, but people in the areas did claim to, like, they saw a Mothman before this happened.
Oh, okay.
The only reported one I could find, I cannot pronounce this. So according to the Gregorian newspaper, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Svobodnia Gruzia.
Oh, that's better than I could do. So according to that newspaper, Russian UFOologists claimed that Mothman sightings in Moscow foreshadowed the 1999...
I know how to pronounce Moscow. I know how to pronounce Moscow really well.
Foreshadowed.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you're not wrong. Foreshadowed the 1999 Russian apartment bombings. So I could find, like...
My favorite drink.
It is a good drink. So that one, they actually had, like, a report in a foreign publisher that, like, someone in Moscow saw a Mothman, and then that foreshadowed the apartment buildings.
Yeah. So does, like, every country just have their own Mothman?
I don't know. That's a good thing to, like, research.
Because when you said, like, oh, like, maybe there are multiple, like, Mothmen who just show up when they're needed.
Like, there's, like, one assigned to each country.
Yeah.
His jurisdiction.
But my first thought was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because if there is a Mothman species, they would all have the same habitat. And then I went, we're talking about a cryptid. It is not, this does not work the same way.
Yeah, like
But then I was wondering, I was like, is it like to where, like, you know, each area has its own designated Mothman?
I mean, I think that's the thing with cryptids in general, because people claim, like, there are different Bigfoots.
Yeah.
So, is it a species? Is it one just, like, teleporting? That's where the paranormal aspect, I guess, comes in.
Yeah.
And we will never know. You just believe what you believe in your little heart.
Because then you got, like, you know, the black dog being, like, the harbinger of, like, you know, bad things about to happen.
Which
well,
is that? Is that one singular dog, or is that a species?
Is that multiple? And
yeah.
then, but see, and then that one is like, well, black dogs are like everywhere, so they would all have like their own like little, because like, you know, black dogs are a very common like dog.
Yeah. But it's also just like, I mean, man and moths are common everywhere.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for, but I did think it was.
There's like a Mothman headquarters where they each go in and get their assignment for the day.
Clock in. I'm surprised there's not like a Mothman TV show, like an animated like a Mothman TV show.
Yeah, they clock in and then they immediately have to go to like their desk, and it's like
they have to like view their crystal ball, and they're like, what's coming up? What terrible thing is coming up for the people? And they're like, oh fuck, I gotta go to America.
And then they have to check their email and be like, hey, you're going to this location today. There's one big Mothman, like...
There's just that one...
sending out the emails.
The West Virginia Mothman. He's like, nah, that's my territory. You guys go. I got Point Pleasant.
Anything else, I don't want. They're like, well, you're going to get paid less. This is not a unionized job, so if you don't do, you're going to take a pay cut. He's like, well, that's fine.
Fine. Just let me be with my people. As far as new sightings go in, like, the Point Pleasant area... After the Silver Bridge thing, Mothman pretty much disappeared from the area again. So it's like, the harbinger. But ever so often...
Because if he was the cause of doom, he would, like, stay around to
wreak
cause
havoc.
more doom.
Yeah, right?
So if you like, after the tragedy happens, you don't see him, it's because there's not something bad about to happen.
He's not causing it. That's why it's like people like go like hunting Mothman. I'm like, you don't want to see Mothman, my guys. Like, that's a bad sign.
You don't want to find him.
Like, I would love to. Just look in those big, beautiful eyes. But it would also mean something bad. In 2016, a man who just moved to Point Pleasant spotted a mysterious creature jumping from tree to tree. He claimed to the local reporters that he was unaware of the local legend of the Mothman until he allegedly spotted the beast himself. So every now and then there's still like a few like things, but I was trying to think like, did anything bad happen in 2016? in the area. I couldn't really find anything unless it was like another local tragedy, which I couldn't really see anything. And then it's also like, how are you gonna move to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and not know about the Mothman? Like, it seems kind of bullshit, and like, who doesn't know about Mothman? But I will say, he might be telling the truth, because when I was trying to go to the Mothman festival, my two best friends I was trying to get to go with me, they were like, "What's Mothman?" And I was shook. So there were some people out there who don't know Mothman, and I guess he could have been telling the truth.
Normal people don't know who the Mothman is.
I guess, but I just think he's so ingrained in my brain. I'm like, who doesn't know Mothman?
Like, we were playing Jackbox, and we were playing Fibbage, and I made a Mothman joke, and my sister was the only one who understood the joke. Everyone else in the house is like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, what do you mean?
But still, like, there's a Mothman movie with Richard Gere in it. Like, how do you not know Mothman? Anyway, so...
Well, I didn't know there was a movie with Mothman in it, but I also don't know movies. Like, I had never watched The Mummy before, so, like...
Yeah, I guess. And then in 2019, accounts of a flying moth creature in Chicago kind of reignited the paranormal, like, creature
Something
craze.
bad did happen in 2016.
2019.
No, earlier, 2016.
Oh, 2016? Oh, I mean...
Something kind of big happened.
Mothman tried to warn us.
He was like, you don't know what's
You
coming.
fuckers are screwed.
You did this.
It's true. Just like the bridge. It was our own fault.
Yeah.
Mothman's not hard. He's just there to be like, fucking told you so. You did this. So then, yeah, in 2019, there were like all these accounts in Chicago of a possible Mothman creature. This account made national news, and then an NPR like inquiry entitled "The Case of the Chicago Mothman" was very quick to like point out that lovers of the unknown and the unsubstantiated should remember exactly where his roots lie, and that's in Point Pleasant. So like the NPR article is basically being like, "Yeah, it's not cool," and like it kind of brought new people into the legend of Mothman, like from the Chicago. They're like, "Oh, what's this creature?" And they were like, you should look into, Point Pleasant. This is where Mothman's roots are. Basically, it was kind of cute. They were, like, doing a shout-out. Because, I mean, Point Pleasant, like, even if there are multiple Mothmen, or it's a species, or he, like, teleports, Point Pleasant is the Mothman.
Yeah.
Mecca. Like, that is where it is. It's where a 12-foot statue of his likeness by Bob Roach stands. It's chrome polished. I'm sure if you know about Mothman, you've seen a picture of the statue, I'm sure. It has like the wings and the bright red eyes. Like it's a great like.
Wasn't there a bakery that made Mothman cookies that Shane and Ryan went to in the Mothman episode?
I mean, Point Pleasant, they fucking love Mothman.
Yeah.
Like they buy into it. It gives them like tourism. Like it's a great little tidbit for them, which I kind of talk about here at the end. This is the end of my notes, I promise.
Oh, you're fine. You probably would have got through it a lot faster if I shut my mouth.
I mean, we don't know. This is how this goes here. Also, like Point Pleasant.
Season 3, nothing has changed.
No,
Sorry.
Same us, unfortunately. Is where in 2006, Jeff Wamsley, who was a native of the town.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a funny last name. Wamsley.
Who grew up there and like grew up hearing tales of Mothman and all that. He opened the Mothman Museum to showcase all of the archival material that he had assembled living there. The collection features police reports and like all of these other witnesses' accounts from various sightings, so that's also where I really want to go there because I would like to read all the other accounts that I couldn't find. Wamsley has also released 2 books entitled one, Mothman, Facts Behind the Legend in 2001, and then Mothman, Behind the Red Eyes in 2005.
Ah. That sounds like a romance book.
It really does. Like that sounds like that should be on my Kindle Unlimited. Let's go.
Like one of the free novels because you can't.
It's a little spicy. The moth behind the man in the red eyes or something, I don't know. His museum also produces the festival, the annual festival, which grows in attendance each year, with crowds totaling over 15,000, which is staggering considering that Point Pleasant is a town with fewer than 5,000 residents.
Oh, yeah.
So, like I said, like they love Mothman because it gives them money. It gives, like, they eat it up there. And I love that. I wish we had a weird little creature. We just have the weird people that live here.
Yeah.
Wamsley is quoted as saying, quote, "I think the Mothman story is timeless. It's never been fully solved or proven as to what these people were seeing. People come here to see for themselves and to investigate on their own, to make up their own minds. Everyone has their own theory. It's part of the town's history, and we love it." End quote. And then my last little thing is from Rosemary Hathaway, who's an associate professor of English at the West Virginia University. She kind of defines the revival of cryptid mania as a renaissance. So she claims that kind of at the heart of the comeback of Mothman is a bubbling sense of pride and resurgence of traditional storytelling by and for small-town residents. Quote, "There definitely is a long storytelling tradition in West Virginia, and I think it tends historically to follow along two lines. Either it's tall tales or a long tradition of ghost stories and the supernatural and weird things happening in the woods. That sort of thing. My sense is that cryptid stories are the more modern versions of ghost stories." End quote. And that's really the end of my notes, but I just like those last two little quotes, because it's like, no matter what you believe, like, a town is thriving because of it, and it gives people this sense of community and, like, fun and adventure, even though people, like, some people believe that Mothman is, like, evil and brings about doom, but
it's still something to band around.
It's a fun little story, and he's, like, a nice little mascot for a town out of nowhere from the 60s, and I just love him.
We support Mothman in this house.
Yes. So that was my Mothman segment.
Love it. Okay. So I am going to be talking about the Pine Barrens, which is a location.
Okay.
There is a cryptid involved. We'll get to him. So the Pine Barrens is a 1.1 million acre area in southern New Jersey.
Okay.
It is a heavily forested area covered in sandy, acidic, like nutrient poor soil. It really can only grow like cranberries, orchids, and like carnivorous plants.
Is it the Jersey Devil?
Yeah. Okay. The region has 4 state forests and is very sparsely populated. It's also littered with abandoned villages. Some are barely more than like mounds of dirt, and then others still have like brick and stone remnants of the mills that made iron, paper, and terracotta.
Yeah.
The first people to ever live in the Pine Barrens were the Lenni Lenape, who lived in the area around 1200 AD. For centuries, the land was undisturbed, and then around 1694, the first European settlers began moving in, naturally.
Damn them.
Since New Jersey was an iron-rich region, the area played a large role in the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. This is one of the first known instances of violence on Pine Barrens land. When coal was first discovered not too far away in Pennsylvania, many people fled to Pennsylvania in search for jobs and like the promise of a better life, leaving most of the settlements in Pine Barrens barren. I came up with that pun all by myself. I thought it was good.
Good job.
This is where much of the paranormal activity is said to come from. The ghosts of who once lived there are said to still inherit the land. One of the spirits who is said to still wander the Pine Barrens is none other than the headless Captain Kidd.
Oh, okay.
Just wandering around with no head. A white stag and a black dog are also said to dwell in the area.
Like together? Little friends?
I don't know. That would be really
that.
cute, though. That would be really cute.
Still cool, though.
One of the most famous stories is about a man named James Still, who was a doctor during the time of slavery and was lynched for practicing in the medical field. Not that he did anything wrong.
Okay, I was about to say, like, do we hate this man?
No, he was
okay.
just a black man practicing medicine in the time of slavery, and so he was lynched.
I got you. I thought maybe he was mean.
Oh.
Slaves.
No. He was,
okay.
yeah, he was.
I got you. He was just a black man doing doctoring.
Yep.
Well,
and then he was hung.
Great.
Yep. But in contrast to the others, it's said that Still is a very friendly spirit who will actually help people who find themselves in need.
Aww.
Yeah. So he's still in the
Still very
afterlife
doctorly.
doing doctor stuff.
Aww.
And then now we get on to a cryptid. The Jersey Devil is perhaps one of the most popular and well-known legends to come out of the Pine Barrens.
I actually don't know a lot about the Jersey. I just know the name.
Well, legend has it that in 1735, a Pines resident known as Mother Leeds found herself pregnant for the 13th time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Her husband was a drunk who made few efforts to provide for his wife and 12 other children. And then, reaching a point of exasperation upon learning of her 13th child, she raised her hands to the heavens and proclaimed, "Let this one be a devil."
Okay.
Mother Leeds went into labor a few months later on a very, like, apparently tumultuous, stormy night, like thunderstorms, heavy rain.
Atmosphere.
Yes. No, and she no longer really thought about the curse she had placed previously regarding her child. By all accounts, the birth went routinely, and the 13th Leeds child was a seemingly normal baby boy. Within minutes, however, her unholy wish came to fruition.
Uh-oh.
The baby started to change and metamorphosized right before her eyes. Within moments, it transformed from a beautiful newborn baby into a hideous creature unlike anything the world had ever seen.
I picture, like, in Sims, when they age up, they do, like, the spin jump thing and the twirly sparkles. I just couldn't stop myself from envisioning that happening.
Yeah, just this little newborn baby just... And then it's like, devil. The child began growing at an incredible rate. It sprouted horns from the top of its head, and talon-like claws tore through the tips of its fingers. Leathery bat-like wings unfurled from its back, and hair and feathers sprouted all over the child's body. And the way I picture it, just because, like, in my own head, you know Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf? Mm-hmm. The album cover? That's what I picture the New Jersey Devil to look like.
Okay. I mean, that's fair, yeah.
Its eyes began glowing bright red, naturally, as they grew larger than the monster's gnarled and snarling face. The creature attacked its own mother, killing her, and then turned its attention to the rest of the horrified onlookers who witnessed its tempestuous transformation.
Say that 3 times fast.
No, thank you. I declined. It flew at them, clawing and biting, screaming unearthly shrieks the entire time.
Not what you want.
No. It tore the midwives limb from limb, maiming some and killing others. The monster then knocked down the door to the next room, where its father and siblings cowered in fear and attacked them all, killing as many as it could. Those who survived watched as the beast sprinted to the chimney and flew up it, destroying it on the way and leaving a pile of rubble in its wake. Okay. The creature then made its escape into the darkness and desolation of the Pine Barrens, where it has lived ever since. To this day, the creature known as the Leeds Devil and the Jersey Devil terrorizes any who are unfortunate enough to encounter it. Did I delete this part?
I don't know.
Okay. I apparently deleted this part, but can you guess who the first person was to, like, said to see the Jersey Devil?
No, I mean, no.
It's someone French.
I don't know. I don't know the time. Yeah, I don't know.
Napoleon Bonaparte's brother.
Okay.
Joseph Bonaparte apparently was one of the first people to ever report a sighting of the Jersey Devil.
All right.
Which was not the crossover I would have ever expected.
Yeah, I would not. Interesting.
Yeah, like, I read that and I was like, what? I was like, what happened?
Wild.
But in the 18th and 19th centuries, the Jersey Devil was spotted throughout the Pine Barrens region, frightening local residents and any of those brave enough to explore the area. Unearthly wails were often reported from the dark forest and swampy bogs, and the slaughter of domesticated animals would be attributed to the Jersey Devil as well. Over the years, the legend grew, occasionally even overstepping the boundaries of its rural Pine Barrens haunt to terrorize local towns and cities around Pine Barrens.
Okay.
The most infamous of these incidents occurred January 16th through the 23rd, 1909. Early in the week, reports started emerging from the Delaware Valley that strange tracks were being found in the snow. The footprints went over and under fences, through fields, backyards, and across the rooftops of houses. They were even reported in the large cities of Camden and Philadelphia. Panic immediately began to spread. Fear and intrigue grew even greater when it was reported that bloodhounds refused to follow the unidentified creature's trail in Hamilton. They were like, no thank you.
I'm a pass.
They were like, hey, follow these footprints. And they were like,
You first.
I don't think so. Like, I respectfully decline. And people took it so seriously that, like, schools closed or suffered low attendance throughout lower New Jersey and in Philadelphia. Mills in the Pine Barrens were forced to close when workers refused to leave their homes and travel through the woods to get to their jobs. Yeah. Because this was, like, early 1900s, so, like, everyone thought everything was, like...
Yeah.
This was what? Just not that long after the Salem witch trials. Like, people were all about
scared.
spook.
Yeah. Good point.
Eyewitnesses spotted the beast in Camden and in Bristol, Pennsylvania, and in both cities police fired on it but did not manage to bring it down.
Okay.
A few days later, it reappeared in Camden, attacking a late-night meeting of a social club and then flying away.
He said, fuck your club.
He was like, you're out here socializing and having fun.
Couldn't be me.
I don't think so. I'm going to ruin this now. Earlier that day, it had appeared in Haddon Heights, terrorizing a trolley car full of passengers. A trolley car full of passengers. I was like, a trolley car full? What? A trolley car full of passengers before flying away. Witnesses claimed that it looked like a large flying kangaroo. Another trolley car. Another trolley car full of people saw it in Burlington when it scurried across the tracks in front of their car. But I love how it just comes in and, like, attacks people and then takes off.
Yeah, like, for no rhyme or reason.
Like, just completely unprovoked.
Unhinged kink.
He's just like, fuck you, and then takes off. In West Collingswood, it appeared on the roof of a house and was described as an ostrich-like creature. Firemen turned their hose upon it, but it attacked them and then flew away. I would also not like getting sprayed with a fire.
Sounds powerful. Like painful, yeah. Their hoses being intense.
The entire week, people reported that their livestock, especially their chickens, were being slaughtered. This was most widespread in the towns of Bridgeton and Millville. Say that without an accent. Millville. I can't. The creature reappeared later the week in Camden, where a local woman found the beast attempting to eat her dog. She hit it with a broomstick and it flew away.
Okay.
Badass woman.
For your dog, yeah.
Well, there has not been another week to match the intensity of the January 1909,
Like as often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numerous.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Numerous sightings of the Jersey Devil have continued to be reported to this day. The tale of the devil has spread beyond the Pine Barrens and has been embraced by all of New Jersey, even to the point where it has been largely commercialized. The devil is portrayed in toys and on t-shirts. There's a restaurant that is like Jersey Devil themed, and there's like a shirt that says I ate with the Jersey Devil. It's even the subject of its own feature film, and it has also lent its name to the New Jersey's NHL hockey team.
Oh, yeah. What film?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look it up.
I
I saw it in the article, and I was like, okay. I'm not a movie person. I don't care about movies. I'm like, whatever.
Okay. Keep going.
Oh.
I'm just going to look it up.
I was like, because I wasn't like, my whole thing wasn't like the New Jersey Devil. My thing was like the Pine Barrens.
No, I get it.
Like
I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no idea. I did not look. So, the next thing, often referred to as the Robin Hood of the Pine Barrens, Joe Mulliner was a Tory outlaw who was forced to flee his home in 1779 to avoid arrest. Then he went on a crime spree.
Oh.
Well. Yeah, he was like forced to flee his home, and in fleeing just started committing lots of crimes. And he went on the spree throughout the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey. He would burn farmhouses, kidnap people, and hold up stagecoaches.
I was rooting for you, dude.
But he often left the poorer folks alone and only preyed on the rich people.
Okay, now I get it.
Yeah, so the Robin Hood of the Pine Barrens. He was finally arrested.
But did he give to the poor or just to himself?
I don't know. I highly doubt it. I don't think he was... He just left them alone, which I guess is probably on their behalf. They're probably like, thanks.
That's fine with us.
We don't need anything
Crazy
from you.
Man.
You just stay over there. We'll pretend you don't exist. He was finally arrested in the Indian Cabin Mill Inn in Nesco after a night of, quote, drinking, dancing, and debauchery, end quote.
Yeah. So I'd like to be arrested too.
Like, if you're going to go down, that's the way to do it. He was convicted of high treason on August 8th, 1781, and he was sentenced to be hanged the same day at Gallows Hill. Afterward, his body was delivered by wagon along the very route that he had terrorized to his wife at Sweetwater, where he was buried along a high bank overlooking the Molucca River and the Cold Spring Swamp. His resting place is a lonely grave in the pines marked by a stone, but there was a long line of stones because his grave marker, the stone, kept getting stolen. Which sounds like a recipe to me for making a ghost.
I mean, yeah, like, leave his stone alone.
Like, that was his single grave marker, and it kept having to be replaced, because every time it got replaced, someone stole it.
Because it's just a nice rock. They're like, oh, cool rock. Or are they specifically like, fuck this guy?
I think they were specifically like, fuck this guy, he doesn't need a grave marker, and would take it. And I'm like, that is how you get a ghost. Congratulations. You made one. There's a chance he would have been fine. Just like chilling.
Yeah. Like,
if no one ever stole his grave marker.
He had his robbing, he had his debauchery, he had his drinking. Well,
yeah, it sounded like he lived a good life. I really don't think he would have been like stuck around haunting if people hadn't messed with his resting place. Now, this one is a little bit sadder. In the town of Atco, there's a road that was never finished. It was Christmas night and a boy was out playing with the basketball he got as a present when a drunk driver came speeding down the dead-end street.
Oh, no.
He hit the boy and decided to run, only to come to the end of the road. Because it was like a no outlet. Because it was never finished.
Yeah.
The driver was forced to do a U-turn and drive back, passing the body of the boy he had just killed, and kept going.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he had to turn around, drive past the...
Again, purposefully leave.
Yeah, and purposely leave the scene. Yep.
Twice.
It said the boy still haunts Burnt Mill Road, searching for those who killed him.
Aww. Poor baby.
So... And how to spot him, you drive down, there are two different ways. You drive down the street and head straight towards the end of the road. When you reach the end, do a U-turn, pull your car up to the part of the street where there's a crack through the asphalt from one side of the street to the other. Stop here and beep your horn 3 times and flash your lights 3 times, then sit in darkness for a bit. You will see the figure of a boy begin to cross the street dribbling a basketball almost in slow motion.
Creepy.
Yeah. The most common way to see his ghost is to drive to the road in the middle of the night, park on the side, kill the engine, kill the lights, and get out of the car. You then walk away from the spot where the ghost appears, and after 20 feet, turn around. Then you will then see the spectral form of a little boy walking towards you.
Both creepy.
Yes.
But also, like, can you imagine, like, living there now and just hear people beeping their horns constantly?
God, that would be so annoying. Like, it's like the middle of the night. You've got work the next day, and someone's just...
Like, you know, they're like fucking done at like 3 in the morning also. So it's
Yeah.
just like, beep, beep, beep. And you're like,
Fuck.
boy again. They're looking for him. It's like, let him rest. Let me rest.
Because at this point, they're just doing it to toy with him. Because he is still hanging around looking for the people who killed him, who are obviously not going to show back up.
Yeah.
So now you're just fucking with him.
Yeah.
Because every time you do this and he comes out, it's because he's looking for the people that killed him, and you're not them.
Yeah. Poor boy.
So the last little story I have is Emilio Carranza. So Emilio Carranza's Mexican Excelsior left Roosevelt Field, which is a plane. Sorry, I probably should have specified what the Mexican Excelsior was. It was a plane.
Okay.
Left Roosevelt Field, Long Island at 7:18 p.m. in the middle of an electrical storm against all warnings by the Weather Bureau and airport officials. Residents of the Pine Barrens near Sandy Ridge recalled hearing the sputtering of an airplane engine during the storm. The next afternoon, the wreckage of his plane was discovered by a family out picking blueberries.
This was just him and the plane alone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just him. It was like
a personal plane.
Yeah.
Type thing. Gotcha.
Yeah, it wasn't like a commercial plane.
Yeah. I was like, I already talked about storms and planes.
Yeah, this is not that. Emilio's body was found still clutching a flashlight in his hand. It was believed he was flying low, looking for a clear place to land when he hit the treetops, causing the plane to flip. In the pocket of his partially destroyed jacket, they found the telegram that had prompted his departure against all the warnings. It was from his superior officer, General Joaquin Amaro, who reportedly wrote, "Leave immediately without excuse or pretext, or the quality of your manhood will be in doubt."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just like a dick of a guy.
Yeah.
Like that was just like, it was in the middle of an electrical storm, and he was like, if you don't leave immediately, like, you're not a man.
You're like, you're a pussy. Yeah.
That was so fucking rude. The Carranza Monument marks the place where Captain Carranza's body was found. As the local legend goes, if you park your car at the gate, flash the headlights on the memorial 3 times. There's a lot of car things here. Which does not make sense with the plane thing. It made more sense with the car thing.
Yeah.
Less sense with the plane thing.
I guess you can't, like, go fly a plane and flash your lights 3 times.
Yeah, no, that's probably a bit more difficult. But then you wonder why it's not flash your flashlight 3 times, because he was found with a flashlight in his hand.
Maybe no one's tried.
But flash the headlights on the memorial 3 times and yell, Emilio, out of the window. You will see him and his plane.
She just sees a fucking apparition of a plane?
Yes.
That's terrifying. Pass.
I would die. I think I would have a heart attack. Like, if I saw a plane coming at me.
A plane ghost? Like, no thank you.
And it's just, like, coming towards you. I'd be like, oh shit, I'm about to die.
This is it. Fuck that.
But yeah, so that is the story of the Pine Barrens. And there were some, like, other stories, especially surrounding, like, Indian Creek Road, but I really didn't want to get into that because a lot of the ghosts are girls who were murdered by a child molester and murderer. And I was like, I really don't want to get into that. But there's also a boys' orphanage, and I was like, I didn't really look into that either because I didn't trust where that was going either. I was like, no thanks.
I mean, yeah, fair. I didn't know. I mean, I really don't know much about any of that, so interesting.
Yeah, so that was my paranormal little segment.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out the movie that was Jersey Devil?
It was just called The Jersey Devil.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
At least that's the first one I saw, and I was like, okay, cool. Well, how's it feel to be back?
Really good.
Good.
Really good. Like I always said, this is my favorite part of the week.
And we're back.
We are back for season 3.
But yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining us back, or maybe it's your first time, but either way, thanks for coming back or being here.
Yeah, hope you liked Paranormal. And, shall we spin, I guess?
Yes, let me finish getting the wheel set up for the drink, and then we will be good to go. Nice.
Speak of the devil.
I can do the fave.
That's gonna be a long section.
Well, like something specific.
Oh, okay.
Well, it'll either be something very specific or a very broad overview.
Okay.
I will decide later.
Well, what do we get, Skylar?
A drink we like.
Okay.
Again, and I will not fuck up this time.
So, we get to do a mystical, which is funny because Skylar talked about it earlier, and a drink we like. Again.
Yes.
Not a bad start.
The wheel gave me a second chance to get it right.
Like, surely she can get it right this time.
Sorry, we had like 3 weeks in between recording. I forgot what the drink was supposed to be. I thought it was red wine. So when Brittany was like making herself a gin and tonic, I was like, what's happening?
What is she doing?
It's like, what's going on?
But it's all good. It worked out.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how to do this?
Yes. So if you would like to find us as a collective, we are at Sip In Spin Pod on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We also have a YouTube. Throughout our break, our YouTube videos were still coming out, so hopefully you check out those. We put out videos every Tuesday. And then if you would like to email us, it's sipandspinpod@gmail.com. If you'd like to find Brittany, her ats are Whimsy Dream or Whimsy Dreams. And then if you'd like to find me, mine is Gleam, YKS on everything. But as always, the 3 link trees will be down in the description below.
Yeah. And again, welcome back, us and you listening. And
yeah, season 3 premiere. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun to be back. Of course, I always like talking about Mothman, so I was happy.
Oh my god, we need to do a tear maker, a horny tear maker like we did with Stardew
With
Valley.
cryptids?
But with cryptids.
I'm into that. I feel like I will just be a whore, but okay, I'm into that.
That's fine. We put the goblin in fuck on Stardew Valley, so I think if people aren't surprised by... I don't think people are surprised.
I'm into it. And we thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, and we'll sip with you next week.
Still as cringe. Still as cringe.
She loves it.
Goodbye.